Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, about 3 weeks since my last video, so I have quite a few things to share with you. Strangely enough, after looking around at the stuff that I wanted to show you, I realised that I only have one finished object, so that section is going to be quite short. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, welcome. Those of you that are returning, hiya! Thanks for coming back again. Just to let the newbies know, on this channel I do lots of different crafts. Whatever takes my fancy at the time, that is what I will work on. I'm not fixed into any kind of routine. I pick up what I feel like working on, and that's the way I roll. So that's just the way it is. So this time around I have been working on a lot of cross stitching. I've been doing some knitting, I've been doing some crocheting, and I've done a little bit of embroidery, surface embroidery I'm told it's called, since the last video. So if you're interested in any of those things, then stay tuned. The finished objects section consists of one item, so I'll show you that now, and then we'll move into works in progress. So for finished objects, I worked on this needle minder. I keep calling it a needle minder, and it's a needle case or needle book. This was in the CrossStitcher magazine last month, and it was a free kind of cross stitch kit, so I thought I'd have a go at it. I kind of got in the mood over the last couple of months of doing the little cross stitch kits that come with the magazines. So this was the third one that I've worked on. I think it's the third one I've worked on, and last time round in the last video I think I got up to about here, and sorry, after the video then I managed to complete the stitching, add on a tail, stitch it to the actual felt, stitch around the edge, and basically just finish it. So it actually looks a bit like an elephant. I think it looks a bit like an elephant, and I've got one needle in it so far. So my stitching around the edging is not perfect. It is what it is. It's only meant to hold my needles, and that was all I was going for. I just wanted to use up one of the little kits that came with the cross stitch magazines, and that's what I did. So I'm pleased with that. It's functional, it does the job, I'm good with that. So let's move into, well, I was going to say finished objects, but it's works in progress. So the first work in progress I have to share with you is the Dimensions kit that I've been working on for a while. So this one is the gold collection. It's called Lakeside Village by Dimensions. This was given to me by a lovely viewer, and I have been working on this. As I mentioned in the last video, this is done on 16 count blue Ada, and I'm working it in a variation of, there's quite a lot of mixed threads in this one, so there will be, they're usually two-stranded, but they will be stitched everything's stitched 1 over 1, no, 2 over 1, 2 threads over 1. Sometimes I will have 4 threads over 1, sometimes it will be 3 threads over 1, sometimes it's like 2 different colours. There's a lot of variation in this kit, so when I'm working on this I have to really be in the frame of mind where I want to focus on it, and where I'm not going to be too easily distracted. So I worked on this after the last video, and then maybe for like, I don't know, 2 sessions or something, and then it's been put down since then. So I'll put in a picture of what it looked like last video, and this is what it is looking like now. Here we are now. So I'm keeping it on the frame because I don't want to take it all out and it holds better. So I worked on this section here. Hopefully you can see that I've managed to stitch enough to start working on the boat. So there's a second boat in this picture, and that's what I worked on here doing this bit. I did say last video that I ran out of some of the colour threads that were actually in the kit, so I came up with some alternatives to use from my DMC stash. and so that's what I was working on, filling in the blanks that I had been sitting on just because I didn't have the thread because I ran out of it. So I filled in some of the blanks around this section here, and then I started working on this bit here, and the aim was to just complete this column, but for some reason I skipped this bit, probably because there was a lot of different colours in there, and I just decided to at some point fill in here. So basically what I've done on this since the last video is this section here with the second boat and this section here, and then I've put it down and I've been working on other things. So because I obviously wasn't in the frame of mind to be concentrating too hard on this. So yeah, so that's where I got to with the Lakeside Village piece. I'm pleased with the progress on that. I feel like I do need to pick that up a little bit because I wanted to, my aim was to have this finished by the end of the year. I don't see that happening right now because I've been doing a lot of new starts. Confession, I have started a few new cross stitch projects, and so I've been enjoying those. So this one has kind of taken a bit of a back seat since the last video, I must say. So that's where I am with that one. I will get back to it, I will, because when I do get started on it, I do enjoy it and I really do want to finish it. But for the time being, I've been kind of focusing on doing some other things, doing some new starts. I was in the frame of mind over this last month to just start new things. I wanted to do something new, and so I broke my rule of trying to finish something before I move on to something else, and I just decided to go for it and start a lot of new stuff, which you will see in a moment. But firstly, let me get to the Christmas stocking. So last time round I showed you that I was working on another dimensions kit, which is the Sidecar, Santa Sidecar stocking, this one. So last time round, I'll show you what it looked like, and that's the picture up there. This is worked on 14 count blue Ada, and there are no mixed threads. There is all done in 2/1, 2 strands over 1 thread. That's the way to put it. So 2/1. It's all done 2/1, stitched 2/1, and there are no mixed colours. So this is a lot easier to focus on. So after I did some of the Lakeside Village one, I turned to the Sidecar stocking. And what I did, I decided that I would work on the back stitching. So I came up with a plan to try and do the top bit here. So this is the top bit of the stocking, the cuff of the stocking. And my plan was to finish the top bit and then work my way downwards. So I thought what I would do, I'll just complete the back stitching on this, because the way it looked last time, it just looked very kind of bleh, and I couldn't, there was no real definition to the presents. This is what it is, yeah, that's better. So you can see there, with the back stitching, it gives the items, the presents and the tree and the baubles and stuff, a little bit more of a fun look, a lot more definition, and that kind of made me happier to look at it. And I was thinking that if I went ahead and stitched the whole stocking and then went to do the back stitching, that's going to be a lot of back stitching in one go to do, and I'm going to quickly run out of steam. So I thought what I would do, I'll just complete this section, do the back stitching on the presents and stuff before I move down to the next lot of stitching, and then I will at least feel like I've completed some of it before I move on to the next bit of the stocking. So hopefully by the time I get down to the toe, all I'll have to do is the back stitching on the toe section, and then I can say it's done. So my plan for next time, when I pick this up again, I plan to try and work some more on the cuff section. The only thing that I didn't like about this is in the cuff section, it looks really nice, the kind of mottled colouring here, but it's a pain to work on because I have to keep changing threads just to get this kind of patterning in there. It would have been probably easier if I'd have thought about it. I could have just substituted that colour for maybe a variegated thread, and it would have probably given me a very similar effect. What do you think? Do you think that would have worked? Let me know what you think, because if I do it again in future, maybe I'll do that. Because on my last stocking, it was just a solid colour, But with this one now, I realised when I started going on it, when I had a look at the chart, that it's actually 2 different colour threads, and it's not just one colour. And I thought, okay, I'll start on it, and I did that, and then I kind of quickly ran out of steam because there's a lot of changing to and fro with these colours, and I didn't want to get the placement of each colour in the wrong place and all of that jazz. So yeah, so that's kind of, I think that's probably why I stopped working on this particular project for the time being, because I got a bit fed up with the colour changing here. I like doing the solid colours and stuff, you know, big chunks of colour on the stocking, or to just complete like a present. I like the idea of just complete each little bit, because then it's like completing a little motif, and that's really motivating for me. So yeah, but yeah, that's where I am with this. I have a fair bit to do up here, and then I have to move downwards, but I've kind of just paused on that for the moment because, like I said, I started some new projects. So let's move on to the next one. So from the stocking, I then did well, not in any particular order, I guess, but I moved on to this one. So I've had this in my stash for a long time, so I might as well just do all the cross stitching in one go. So if you're not interested in cross stitching, then you can just zoom past the cross stitching section and into the knitting and crocheting. So I'll just do all this in one go. So this is London. It's by Bothy threads, and this is a complete kit, and it's done on 16 count Ada, and it's stitched 2/1. So usually with the Bothy threads kits, you get everything in the kit, and then it's usually they don't mix colours, blend threads. There's no thread blending, colour blending, that kind of thing. It's just lots of solid colours, and maybe just, you know, mixing them in. I don't even know how to explain it, but you'll see what I mean. There's no kind of mixed threads. There's no colour blending with different threads. So yeah. Anyway, so I made a start on that one. I've had it in my stash for, I don't know, maybe over a year now, because I really wanted to do it at the time when I decided to buy it. I'd been looking at it so much in the Bothy Threads catalogue, and I'd been saying I want to do that one, I want to do that one, and then no, but just hold off because you haven't finished this, and hold off because you haven't done that. And in the end I just decided to buy it and just put it down until I was ready to do it, and of course that occasion occurred recently. So I started the Bothy Threads one, London, and this is where I'm at. This is on my lap stand. So this is where I'm at with this one. I've got part of the bust, so this is the back of the bust that I've done, and then that looks like it's Tower Bridge, and that's the River Thames, sorry, the River Thames here. So I've done that section. I took the view that I would just start the design in the middle, because even though it's a full coverage piece, I thought it would be better to start it in the middle, because I didn't know how much extra fabric I would have, bearing in mind that it comes with the kit and that's what's provided. So I'm not sure if I'd have started in the very corner if it would have been the right place to do it. So I just decided to start it in the middle as per the instructions, and my plan is to kind of work in a particular direction. I was going to work downwards till I get to the bottom of the design, and then I could choose whether I start this side or that side, go up, you know. Then I could kind of make some decisions as to which direction I go in from there, once I've kind of got to a stop point, in a sense, like the edge of the design. I hope I'm making myself clear. I know I'm not like very fluent, but yeah. So that's where I'm at. So I've done this section, I've worked upwards, and then I started up here, and then I thought, right, I need to go down as far as I can go into to the bottom of the design, and then I can decide whether I go this way or that way, you know, where to go from there. And that's where I've stopped. And this needle minder is by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, Positivity Rules, from that Stitch Along. So yes, so I'm pleased with this one. Like I said, it's done on 16 count blue Ada, comes in the kit, and it's a Zygarde Ada, and I was enjoying that one. That one I kind of, it's like everything with the cross stitching. I think once I get started on a piece, I tend to really keep going and going, and I don't want to put it down, and I want to do a little bit more, and then I finish a little section. So with this piece, where I was going with this, I was doing the red. I wanted to do a colour completion. That was my initial idea after doing all of this bit and getting onto the red. I thought, right, I'd quite like to complete the red for the bus and then move on to another position. And then once I started doing the red for the bus, and I thought, oh, actually I'd quite like to do the lettering. Let me do some of the lettering, and then, oh, let me just fill in that little person, and then it just kind of, the whole colour completing idea just went out the window. So I just thought, right, I'll just do what I'll do. I'll stitch until I've run out of red thread, then I'll move on to another colour so that I can kind of complete a section and move that way. So when I finish with this red thread, what I would like to do is go back and fill in this bit here, fill in whatever colour's meant to be there. And once I've run out of that thread, then I'll go to this bit here and fill in that bit, and so on and so forth, because this is a tire. I'd like to do the complete tire as well, and when I run out of thread for the tire, then I move on to another colour. And that's the way I've kind of been wanting to work with this piece. Even though I started off thinking that I was just going to use up all the red and just finish the outline of the bust and just do like a colour completion, that it didn't work to plan. So there you go. I was enjoying it too much to just stick to the red, which is great, which is fine. So yeah, the next project I have, which again is cross stitch. I've got two more cross stitch projects. I started this Bebunni cross stitch. Again, it's a Bothy threads kit, but it's called Bebunni and its friend, Bebunni Friend. I was given this for my birthday last year, and I thought it's quite cute. It will go with the ones that I've got up on the wall behind me, if I can, those ones. These are the same Bebunni cross stitches. This one is sewing, this one is Bebunni butterflies. I think this is, I can't remember what the name of that one is, but it's the sewing one. So yeah, so I wanted to have one here, or maybe I would have another one too. So I'll have maybe the Friends one here, and then another one that I can find that I like here. So I've got a wall of 4 of them, and it'd be a nice backdrop for my videos. So yeah, so I decided to start this one. That's what it looks like. Very easy. It's not full coverage, so all it is the design here. It should be quite quick to do. Very good kind of beginner friendly one, I feel, because there's no what do you call it, no fractional stitches, very minimal back stitching, and it should be, because it's quite a smallish design, it comes up as, the finished size will be 16 by 18 centimeters, so it's not a big design at all, and it's because it's not full coverage and it's just a design, it should be quite a quick stitch. So I made a start on that, and actually last night I worked on this again. So I did a little bit of work on this before last night just to start it, and I got, as you do, I got engrossed in that. And then last night I think I posted pictures on Instagram. So last night I managed to finish off this ear, and then I moved on down here, and I've moved on to the letter D. So the plan is to do the lettering here and then go across that way and do some more lettering, because I want to see some colour on this piece. It's very much beiges and creams, and I want to see some of the colouring. So there we are. And I might actually do the back stitching on the ears just to kind of bring them to life a bit while I stitch on the rest here, but I'm not 100% decided on that yet, because it's a small stitch. I might not necessarily feel like I need to do the back stitching straight off, because I could quite easily just do the back stitching once I've finished it, because like I said, it's quite a small design. So we'll see, but I want to finish the D here and then move on to do some more of the lettering. That's the plan, but that's where I am with that one. So that is Bebunni Friend. The last cross stitch project I have to share with you that I have been working on is the one that has really taken my taken all my attention in the last 2 weeks, I'd say. I've been working so much on this one. Since I started it, I have loved it since the beginning, since I picked it up. So this is the modern folk embroidery design called Fruit of Plenty. That's what the complete design looks like. It's a stitch along. It's currently going on. It's still going, and I think they've done obviously month number 9, which would be the September one. That part of the design has come through. I am way behind because I've only just started it, so I have only just completed this section and I'm working on this one. So I'm on February now, and I've just been loving this. Let me just take it out of the frame. I should have prepared a bit more for this. So it's done in a monochrome. This is not a kit, so the design is meant to be worked on 16 or 32 count, 16 Ada or 32 count even weave, and it's stitched 2 over 1, and the, well, on Ada, on the even weave then it would be 2 over, hang on, what is it, 2 over 2. It is designed to be worked in 2 colours, but you can do it in 1 colour, and the colours that I am using are exactly the same as he used in the original design, and those are DMC colours. The dark blue is 3750 and the light blue is 932. So those are the 2 colours that I'm using, and those are what he used in his design. I've seen so many people on Instagram doing it in lots of different colours. Some people are doing it in more than 2 colours, some people are just doing it in 1 colour. Some people are sticking to the 2 colours, and they're not doing the blue, they're doing purples, they're doing pinks. There's so many varieties. It is such so exciting to kind of see how the design can be completed in colours that are not the same as, you know, not every design is going to be, every stitch up is going to be completely different because of the colours that everybody's used, and it makes it so much more unique. So I'm really loving seeing people's progress on Instagram, and it's the Instagram hashtag is MFE SAL, Modern Folk Embroidery SAL 2021. So if you're interested, check it out on Instagram. You'll see the different variations of how people have stitched this. So mine is stitched on 16 count Ada, and the Ada is called Oatmeal. It's a Zygarde oatmeal colour, so it's like this kind of, like, yeah, oaty kind of texture looking, and I'm stitching 2 over 1 using 2 colours, and this is where I'm at. I am so pleased with this. So I realised that as a stitcher I really enjoy working on designs that are kind of motif designs. So I enjoy having to stitch 1 star and then a bird and then a berry, or, you know, this kind of pattern here. For some reason I get a lot of satisfaction from working on motifs like this, and symmetrical patterns. So I'm really enjoying this. So I did this part of the design, which is the January section. I did this in about a week. I showed, sorry, I'm trying to get this fabric to hold. So I showed that on Instagram. I showed my progress on Instagram, and I might have made mistakes in there, but I decided that any mistakes that I make, unless they're really obvious, I'm not going to fix them. I'm going to leave them as they are. And I really enjoy working on this. So I suppose when it comes to the mistakes that I have made, they do tend to show up more because the pattern is symmetrical. So if it was just down here in one of the flowers, for example, if I skipped a stitch or stitched 1 too many, it's not as obvious. But when it comes to a pattern like this, it's going to show up a lot. You know, this kind of design, and if you do something wrong here, it will show up. And of course, if you miss a stitch, if you don't put a stitch high, if you miss 1 block and you stitch 1 block lower than it should be, then it throws everything else out and makes the symmetry of the design a little bit off. So I'm trying to be a little bit more careful about my counting and my placement of stitches, just so I don't mess things up for myself later on down the line. But on the whole, I've been quite good. at sticking to the design, and if I've made one mistake, then sometimes it's salvageable just by going around it, like for stitches here, but when it's something that I know is really going to make a difference elsewhere, then I tend to rip it out and redo it. So this is the January section, and then this bit is the February. So I'm nearly finished with February. I've just got to do this corner here, and then February will be completed, and I'm really enjoying it. I felt that I had to put it down about, I think this last week I have stopped working on this because I wanted to have some progress on some of the other things. I wanted to move forward on some of the other projects I've got. So I didn't want to just, and I could quite easily have, I didn't want to just focus on this the whole time and the whole month, just because I feel like I want to push forward on some of my other projects. So I stopped myself from working on it anymore, put it down for a bit, and I'm giving some of my other projects a bit of love. So that is that, but I'm really enjoying it. I've realised that I am really fond of motif kind of stitchy designs. They really do satisfy my stitchy bug. So yeah, so that's that. So, and I'm using Q-snap frames. Well, this one wasn't a Q-snap, this one is an R&R craft frame, and I think this is 11 by 11, but and this frame is an R&R lap stand, and it changes, so you can have the small section or you can have the larger section, and I'm working using the larger section, which again is 11 by 11. But I do like the Q-snap frames because they're quite taut. So yeah, so that's the cross stitching. I think that is all of the cross stitching now. So the last stitchy kind of item I have is the embroidery tablecloth that I was working on. So when I showed you last time, I wasn't sure whether it was cross stitching or if it was just normal stitching, embroidery, what I was supposed to call it. But a kind viewer mentioned to me in, I think over on Instagram, that it's called surface embroidery, and you're not actually supposed to stitch it as if it's a cross stitch pattern. So with that in mind, I just did a little bit of work on it after the video, and I completed this flower here, and I'm quite pleased with it. The only thing that I've been thinking is I'm not sure if I use the same colour for the whole of the design, or do I do the leaves in a different colour? What do I do? So I'm in an R-in. I'm not sure what colour thread that I've used for this, to be fair. I just plucked it out of my DMC box, so I'm going to have to check the colour that I've used. But I'm thinking now, sitting here now talking to you, I'm thinking that I should probably just do the whole lot in that one colour, just so it doesn't look too garish. Let me know what you think. But that's where I've got to. I've finished that one flower section there, and I'm trying to decide whether to do the leaves in a green or just continue in the same lilac colour and move along. So this bit that I started ages ago, I'm just going to have to rip it out because that was when I thought I was working on a cross stitch project. So that I'm just going to frog, and then I will continue with this. But yeah, I put this down after the video, after I'd done a little bit on the video. I just wanted to complete that one flower and see how it looked. And I did that, and I'm quite pleased with how that looks. So now I've just got to make a decision on whether I use more than one colour or if I just stick to the lilac. And I think I'm likely to just stick to the one colour for the tablecloth, so it's not too overpowering in terms of having lots of colours. So that's that. So that is a surface stitching, and I'm using an embroidery hoop for this one. Not sure, I think probably because I ran out of the Q-snaps, that's why. Because I prefer the tightness of the Q-snap type frames rather than the hoops. They don't seem to have the right tension for me. I really like a very taut fabric when I'm stitching, and the embroidery hoop just doesn't do it. I keep having to tug at the sides to tighten it, which is quite frustrating. Yes, so you'll be glad to know all the cross stitching is done with. Now I can share with you my works in progress on crochet. So last time round I showed you some crocheting that I was doing in like my scrappy blanket. This time I have another project, another another project in mind. So I'm kind of trying to redecorate the spare room, and the colour theme that I was going for in the spare room was blue. So I felt like if I could do, in the spare room I have a throw on the bed that is a multicoloured scrappy blanket, and I felt like if I'm going to be making the room more blue themed, then it would be nice to have a blue themed blanket to go over the top, a throw. So I had some leftover, I had some grey yarn that I found in my stash, and this is Aran weight yarn, and so I thought I would just do a little bit of crocheting in the same design as the last one. So this is it's called Tangerine, something Tangerine, I can't remember now, but that's it. Let me see if I can find the pattern. It's called Tangerine Dream. Right, so this is what it looks like. That's the design that I'm working to, and I decided to do that for this blanket as well. So this is grey. So that's what I'm using. It's an Aran weight yarn that I'm using. I had this in my stash left over, so I thought, why not just make it into a blanket? So I've done all of these in that same design. Then, and they're basically treble crochets. It's quite easy, just treble crochets and spaces. And using a 4.5mm hook. Then because I like to see things progressing, I like to see how they're starting to look. So I'd done the grey ones, and then I had some of this yarn left over, which is a B&M yarn, and I decided to see what that would look like made up in the same pattern or chart, and so that's what that one looks like. It's kind of like a mohair blend yarn. Again, it's Aran weight, so that's what that looks like. So I've done that one. With the grey yarn that another grey yarn that I had, which is a double knit yarn, I did a basket weave kind of stitch. I think that's what you call it. I could be wrong. If it's a different name, then I'll try and remember to post it on the screen. But I did this design. So now I've done a combination of the Tangerine Dream square and this design, and done a row of those and stitched them all together like that. So this is what I've got so far. I've got one row of Tangerine Dream at the bottom, and then I've got a mixture of the basket, kind of this one here, and the Tangerine Dreams across. And again, so the yarn is generally Aran weight yarn, or double knit, which is quite a chunky, this one. And then a 4.5mm hook. I'm using a clover hook, which I really like. It feels really nice in the hand. See if I can, here we go. That's the hook. It's a rubbery kind of, it feels very ergonomic. That's the hook that I'm using, and it's a 4.5mm, and I really like the way this feels. It's very comfortable to use when I'm crocheting. So yeah, so I've done that. That's what I've done so far. I've done 2 rows. I need quite a few rows, probably about, I don't know, 20 rows of this to cover my single bed. Then, because I wanted blues, I bought this yarn, which is a Hayfield Bonus DK weight yarn. I bought this the other day. Bought 2 of these, and I've done some more Tangerine Dream charted squares like that to go with the grey. So I've done, how many have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 5 of these yesterday to go with it, and those will go with the grey. It's not quite the blue that I wanted, but the plan is to have different blues in here. So if I put it like that, it's probably easier to see. So rather than just sticking to one blue, if I have a different variety of blues, then it's going to be quite obvious that everything is meant to be blue themed. So I might try and get a slightly darker blue as well, to kind of work through the blanket, or yeah, not quite decided, but I'm just I'm playing along with it. I'm just doing what I feel when I feel and just having fun with it. I would like to do some other designed squares to go that I've got in the book that I showed last video, the Square a Day book. So I might see if I can come up with another design, but the problem that I found is I want something that's more solid designed like this, and possibly with just a few holes and not lots of laciness and not lots of intricateness. I want just a nice simple easy design that I can do and remember, that is not going to be, I'm not going to have to keep looking at the pattern to remember what I got to do. So at the moment that's the frame of mind I'm in, so I've just stuck to this chart for now, but I will kind of switch it up as I go further into the blanket. But yeah, so I have to lay it out on the floor to see what it looks like and then decide what square I want next, which design I want to put in next. But I haven't got to that stage yet because I want to do a few more of these and finish up this yarn that I have in this design, and then maybe get another blue and do another design for another row of boxes, squares even. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So this is the throw that's going to go in the spare room, and it's the blue one, and I'm kind of trying to mix up the design a bit and do different design squares, but I seem to be gravitating towards this one quite a lot. So I may actually, I don't want to undo these ones because I think it's just a nice change in the design, but if necessary then I might have to unstitch, frog these and do them in this design. But it's because it was a different yarn, I felt like I didn't want to try and make it look as though it looks the same as this when the yarn is completely different. This is a double knit and this is not. So and they're different textures. So yeah, we'll see. We shall see. I'm quite open to whatever design I feel like choosing from that booklet, or if I see something online in a YouTube video or whatever, then I might just switch it up. But it's not a big deal. It's just a blanket. It's just a throw to go over the top of the bed in the spare room. It's not massive. It's not going to be gifted or anything. So that's the crochet for that. Then I did some knitting. So I have been working using this yarn. So this is Stylecraft yarn in the colour in the what do you call it? The yarn is called Head Over Heels All Stars by Stylecraft, and this is the colour variation. That's the colourway. The colourway is called Walled Gate. I'll show you there. Walled Gate. That's the colour. And I have been working 2 socks in tandem, so I'm doing cuff down socks using a heel, flap and gusset style. I'm using 2.25mm 9-inch circular needles by Gu, and these are 64 stitch socks. And for the cuff I've done a 2x2 rib, and then it's just a plain vanilla sock. So there's your heel, flap and gusset, and I'm just working down towards the foot. And I'm working them in tandem because that's how I like to work my socks. So I have 2, and because I didn't unravel the yarn, what I tend to do normally is I divide the yarn in half and then make them into balls, wind them into balls. But what I did, I started knitting on one pair of socks first, and then I divided them in half. So one was already attached to the socks. So one's working from pulling from the inside of the ball, and the other one is pulling from the outside. So they're going in opposite directions. So as you can see, the socks are not going to be twins. They're going to be working in opposite directions. So that's how they are. So if I turn that way, that's more where this one is going. Is it? Yes, I think so. Yeah, that is more the correct way that they should have gone colour wise, but I'm working them in the opposite directions. So it is what it is. I don't care. I quite like it doesn't matter to me how they come out, if they look exactly the same or not, because they are the same yarn. It's not a big deal. They're only going on my feet. So yeah, so that's where I'm at with these. I am down to, I've just got past, let's see, on this one I finished the heel, flap and gusset, and I've just been working on the sock a bit while I've been doing watching some TV. And then this one I've only just come past the heel flap and gusset. And because I haven't worked on socks for a while, I found that my stitch counting was off. At some point after doing the heel flap and the gusset section, I realised that I had too many stitches on the front bit of the foot. So instead of the sole, the topper bit of the, what do you call it, the instep, this bit. So I had about 34 stitches on the top where I should have had 32. So I've just had to do like an impromptu decrease along here somewhere before I've gone on to do the foot. And I've done the same thing on both socks, so I guess it's uniform in that sense, but it's not ideal. But hey, you know, it will still fit in the same way because I managed to decrease down from here down to 32. So it should be 32 on the top and 32 on the bottom to make my 64. And then I get down to the toes and I start doing my decreases. So that's where I'm at with these, and I quite like the look of the colourway. I have another, it's kind of getting me back into sock knitting because I kind of lost my sock knitting mojo, but now that Strictly is around the corner, I love watching Strictly Come Dancing and doing my sock knitting, because Ellie from Little Drops of Wonderful podcast, she usually hosts the Strictly Sock Along, which is a knit along for anyone who wants to join in, and there's lots of prizes to be had. You just post your photos in Ravelry. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think she was doing it on Instagram. I'm not sure if she's doing it this year on Instagram. But it's a nice little sock along so for everybody to just participate and have a bit of fun whilst watching Strictly. And I usually like to participate in that, whether or not I do it at the right time. I kind of like to be knitting my socks at the same time that Strictly's on, just to try and join in the fun. And yeah, it's a really fun knit along. So if you're interested, if you're a knitter and you're interested in getting involved in knit alongs, the Strictly Knit Along by Little Drops of Wonderful is a great one to get involved in. Even if you're not interested in winning prizes, it's just a lot of fun to be doing the same thing at the same time as a lot of other knitters. So do check that out. I'll try and remember to leave links or information in the description box below the video. So yeah, so that is it. So those are my socks. That is all I have been doing. I can't say that I've got any incoming other than some photo frames, but I think the video's long enough now. I think I'll leave it there for this time, and hopefully I'll be able to come back to you in another couple of weeks with maybe the socks finished at least, and show you how I'm getting on. So I think we'll skip incoming for the time being because I don't really have a lot to show with you, just picture frames, which is a bit, you know, it's not anything too exciting. So yeah, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. If you've liked the video and you've enjoyed seeing what I've been working on, then do give me some thumbs up. Leave some comments in the box below the video letting me know what you're working on, if you've done any of the stuff I've already done, how you found it. Anything you want to talk about relating to any of the crafts that you do or anything like that, then feel free to chat in the comment section below the video. Because I love being able to see what everyone's up to and get some feedback. If you've got any tips for making my life easier in respect of my crafting, that's great as well. So yeah, that is it from me. I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully I will see you in a couple of weeks time with a new video sharing what I've been working on at that point. But until then, do take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.